Okay, so this is the Java implementation for the Netcat chat application. When you press run, this pops up, which is the initial Netcat startup menu. You are able to select TCP server and client and UDP server and client individually from this drop-down list, and you enter the remote IP address, the remote port and local port in order for it to pick up which like server and client it's going to be like popping up as. Press start and then it'll open up the chat application. Originally I did have it change the chat menu at the top to reflect what was in the Netcat menu, but unfortunately due to crashes on Eclipse and Java, that code can't be implemented without the messaging malfunctioning. So unfortunately, as this does pop up, it only shows the Netcat no matter what drop-down menu you pick. And when you do type, unfortunately it doesn't send anywhere. And I had to consider whether I had a menu that worked and a chat application that didn't, or a chat application that did work and a menu that didn't, and in the end I decided that I had to cut the menu so that it does pop up, but unfortunately it doesn't link to the chats the way I wanted it to. Okay, so first off I'm going to test the communication between the TCP client and server to show that not only can they send the messages back and forth between each other, but it will display in the text boxes once they're sent. So I'll start off by typing into the TCP client. Unfortunately, the windows for both the TCP and UDP client and servers aren't formatted in the way I intended them to be, and in the final report they are in that format, but unfortunately due to crashes on Eclipse and computer crashes, that code ends up breaking the whole chat application, so I'm going to have to demo this one instead. As you can see, once I press the send button, it displays the message in the left hand box of the TCP server to show that it's been sent, and I'll do the same with the TCP server, and it also displays in the console. And if we look here, it displays that. Now I'm going to test the UDP client and server communication. The same issue with the formatting was found in this one as well as the TCP. So I'll type hello in the right hand box, press send, and on the console it says receive packet to show that the message has been sent, and it appears in the left hand box. I'll send a message back from the server, and that pops up about to message and sent message in the console. And if we look at the client, it displays the message in the left hand box. Okay, so for this section of the Java implementation, I'm going to show how when this drop down menu is pressed and you select a server and client, it will change the browser name, like the window name, to that. So I'll do that quickly. Type in the remote IP address and the remote port number and local port number. As you can see, when that's pressed, there is the name TCP server on the window. Originally, unfortunately, I couldn't get that to work with the chat application. In one of the tests to try and get the Netcat menu and messages to link together, I did end up getting it to change the browser, and I did end up getting a message to pop up, but unfortunately all the TCP client, UDP client and UDP server only message themselves, as you can see here. And unfortunately the TCP server doesn't seem to message anything at all, so that this test proved unsuccessful and I ended up having to scrap the idea. Okay, so I'm going to be testing the Visual Studio Netcat application for the Modern Networks assignment. For this one, when ran, it all pops up in one interface where the messages will be shown and received on this text box here, be typed from this text box, and you can select any of the UDP server and TCP server, or the TCP client and UDP client from here, and enter the details that you need to in order for it to work. So I will enter that here. Here you can see that the message has indeed sent. The problem is that when it does, when you do press send after you've typed a message in, an exception does appear, which I can't seem to figure out how to fix currently. But the important thing is that when any of these are picked, they do show a message.